The path is inked on paper, trees are sketched in crooked lines. A cabin breathing heavy at the edge of all my signs. The voice behind my shoulder says, be brave, descend the stair. She'll swallow up the world unless you end it down there. I practice righteous speeches on the handle of my knife. A hero in a fairy tale that's never seen a life. There's chalk marks on the floorboards where the story's been rewound. Every loop another rumor of the monster underground. He says she's claws and teeth and void. He says I'm all that stands between the world and null and void. But when I hear her breathing through the wood, it sounds like mine. And I don't know if I'm executioner or just another line. I came here to slay a monster in a dress. They said she'd eat the world unless I cut her out. Rewrote the ending, did my noble bloody best. I came here to slay a monster in a dress. I open up the cellar and the story falls apart. She's smiling like a hurricane or shaking like my heart. Some days she begs for mercy, some days she bends the bars. Some days she looks at me like I put her behind the scars. Each time I make a choice, the ink runs off the page. The voice gets slightly angrier, she takes a different shape. A damsel, then a dragon, then a god with broken wings. Is she changing, or is that just what I need her to be? He says you're saving everyone. She says you just like having something you can run your sword through. If I'm the only constant in this looping little hell, maybe I'm the beast he's frightened of and she's just ringing the bell. I came here to save a monster in a dress. It's you that keeps on slipping through this mess. The more I listen, less I trust the voice that dragged me to this quest. I came here to save a monster in a dress. We dance in every ending through the peeling of the sky. Sometimes I cut her throat, sometimes she helps me die. Sometimes we burn the world and hold hands in the smoke. Sometimes we stitch it back with all the awful things we spoke. The narrator keeps screaming that I've doomed the human race, but all I see is one more loop in her familiar face. If every path I follow ends in ashes all the same, is there really a good route or just different kinds of blame? I called you witch, I called you God, I called you thing that must be stopped. I called him truth, I called him law. I never asked who drew the chalk. If every monster needs a sword and every story needs a grave, then I'm the load-bearing belief that keeps you chained inside this cave. We came here as monsters in a dress. We tore the script to shreds and called it progress. If the world is ash and splinters, that's just how we clean the mess. We came here as monsters in a dress. I came here and found a monster in a dress. And when I whisper monster, I confess it's not the girl behind the door or close the narrator addressed. I came here and found a monster in a dress. And underneath this paper crown and borrowed righteousness, when I say monster, I mean I